And in studio with us is the Chief Justice, Dr. Willy Mutunga. Just a couple of things perhaps that you don't know about him. He's credited by some people as being the godfather of civil society in Kenya. He was a law lecturer at a very early age, head of the Law Society of Kenya, started Kituo cha Sheria, and so many more things, including in 2003 being offered a job by government, but feeling he wasn't quite qualified in certain ways to take the post, turned it down. Very interesting person. Daktari, thank you for joining us in studio today. A bit of an enigma to some people. You've accomplished a lot in your life. And yet for a long time, you know, did it quietly behind the radar. Now you're in full glare of the public, and certainly went through a very open public process during the vetting. What were your thoughts going through that process? What were you feeling, and coming out of it, maybe what lessons can be learned?
Well, I think what I felt was that we fought for public participation in these matters. And I know it was tough, but my view is that we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We should look at that process and improve upon it. People have written criticizing it, but I don't remember anybody who says that we should abandon public participation in recruitments to public office.
How do you think it can be refined?
Lawyers have said that there's the issue of natural justice. You can't just ask somebody a question without telling them where that question came from. So there are people saying that there was a bit of gossip. There's the people weren't told what questions they were going to be asked. There are a few things that need alignment and refinement. But on the whole, I think if we look at the whole purpose of it, and which is holding our leaders accountable and implementing certain provisions in the Constitution, it must be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
You conducted yourself. You were calm through the whole process. But in your mind, what was going through your mind as you were sitting there and some of these really tough personal questions were being hit at you? What were you thinking?
Actually, I wasn't thinking of the MPs who were asking me questions. I was answering the Kenyan people.
Okay.
I thought I owed it to the Kenyan people to answer those particular questions. And I didn't find any question invasive. All those questions were already in the public domain, so I was prepared for those questions.
Okay,
yeah.
Better to answer them than even just leave them going round. How do you feel now? You are in office, you have a huge task ahead of you, you've gone through that rigorous process. How do you feel?
Oh, astronomical expectations from the Kenyan people, but I think I have to turn it around so that I tell Kenyan people that I have expectations of them. Implementing the Constitution is about them. And I think we need to get out of this culture where we elect leaders and we let them, you know, free to do what they want to do. No monitoring, no follow-ups. And the people sit back and think that the leaders will actually deliver. It's a very negative culture. So I think Kenyans must adopt this new culture where they will monitor what we do, and make sure that we don't drop the ball.
Okay, your task is huge in two ways. I mean, there's the administrative task of just dealing with, you know, basic day-to-day issues of management, and then there's the vision of transforming the judiciary. What are your priorities?
I think at the moment is to get the vetting done, recruit more people, go for the easy wins. There are certain things that you know, we could do, like mobile courts, making sure that the magistrates have transport, because they are the faces of the judiciary at the grassroots. So we will focus on those issues, because I think the main objective that I see that I can perform in the next 5 years is basically to lay a foundation for a reformed judiciary.
Okay. in terms of business, very hard, of course, to do business in an environment where the systems aren't working. What would you say to people who are in business, biashara, big or small, whichever?
Yeah, I think everybody says that we need to look at the commercial courts. It doesn't make sense if you sue somebody for $1 billion shillings and then you have to wait for 10 years before the decision is handed down. And I'll be meeting the private sector, because I'm quite certain that they have also issues with the judiciary. But I think it's a whole question of realizing that justice has a lot to do with also with economic justice.
Right.
Yeah.
Corruption. Let's talk about corruption. And in the introduction to your story, we said corruption and sloth, which I think is the way it has been. What commitments can you make on that issue?
Well, the commitments are based on the Constitution, which is, the provisions are very, very, very clear. I think the judges themselves have come up with various reports on that issue. So it's a question of implementing it. And the people should know that there are actually 4 levels of corruption. You have the level at the administrative staff, where files disappear. Constantly. Right. That is being addressed. And at that level, that's where the lawyers come in as well, where advocates are involved. So we shouldn't let them off the hook. Then, obviously, there is a level where judges hawk their judgments, and where they give judgment to the highest bidder. So there's that level of corruption. And the other level, the 4th level, is where they receive calls from politicians, commercial interests, and they do what they are told to do. Okay. So it's a political issue, and we need to look at it holistically and not just at the level of judiciary. Okay,
yeah. It's very interesting, actually, giving us those 4 levels. I must tell you, Bona Chief Justice, whenever we ask questions about legal issues, you get hundreds, in fact thousands of SMSs of people saying, my case land, my case family, and constant concern. So your task is huge, and the people are looking to you, really, as you've said. Their expectations are high, but also, what would you want to leave the people thinking in their minds, even as the country undergoes this process? Say a final word to our viewers.
Well, it's exactly what I was saying. Kenyans have to take responsibility for what happens. They want justice, they have to take responsibility. I think if Kenyans were law-abiding, maybe we wouldn't be that busy in the courts. If they behaved properly, the courts will be irrelevant. So they have to think about that as well. Why is there so much traffic to the courts? Are they settling disputes amicably within the family and the community? All these issues that we have swept under the carpet, and I think they should be discussed.
Okay, thank you so much for making time to join us in the studio tonight, and we wish you all the best.
Yes, I need that. Thank you.
Thank you.